What is up, party people? So today we actually got it figured out. AP did that we can schedule these lives and it can notify people, bring more people to the party. So I'm super excited because we got Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and we're all streaming here. And today we're going to be talking about if going too low in calories is affecting your progress or helping your progress. I'm just going to wait for a few people to hop on here, pull up the chat here. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay, if you can see me. Like I said, I'm going to wait for a couple people to hop on. But today, I had a good question because we talk about calories a lot on my channel. Calories and macros, understanding how the body works. And is there a point where it's going too low, creating too much of a caloric deficit, affecting my results, or is it a good thing, enhancing my results? Let's see, captions. Trying to be able to pull up so I can see your guys' comments. Comment below if you can hear me okay, see me okay. Cool. Okay. Okay, so as people keep hopping on here, we're just going to dive right into it. So I don't have all this intro time, lag time for the people who are already on here. People can go back and rewatch. As always, if you are looking for more specialized help with one-on-one, having me personally help you with a game plan to get to your fitness goals, but do it in a way that you're not restricting yourself. You're actually enjoying the process. Visit my website, www.apperform.com. Let's dive into it. So, and babe, can you double check if we're live on the streams on your end? But anyways, let's dive into can having too low of calories affect our results? Okay, so when that question is asked, usually what I'll say is relative to what? Because going too low in calories is a relative term, essentially, right? Because when you're going too low, does that mean 1,200 calories? Does that mean 2,000 calories? I mean, it's all based on an individual, right? Because some people, a bigger human being might need more calories than a 5 foot, 100-pound female to obviously run the bodily functions and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's all relative to what you think is low, right? And so I want to go through a couple things today because I want to talk about what happens when we're decreasing our calories or creating bigger deficits, and what happens in the grand scheme of things, what I see people do when it comes to total fat loss during a dieting phase from not only a physiological perspective, that word perspective again, right? Physiological, but also a psychological perspective when dieting, okay? And when we're going extremely low in calories, and like I said, it's a relative term, but let's just say we're going to say instead of going too low in calories, we're causing massive caloric deficits relative to our maintenance. Let's go that route so we have a better understanding. So that means if it takes 2,500 calories to sustain our body weight, and we'll say like a smaller deficit's a couple 200-300 calories, maybe a huge deficit is like 600 to 1,000 calories a day of a deficit. That's, I would consider probably a pretty big deficit, right? So when that happens, we're gonna get results right out the gate. Okay, that is true. When you say affecting results, no, it's not going to affect the results directly in the short term. You're going to actually get bigger results because you're in such a caloric deficit where your body has to start losing weight, right? So let's look at it like this, though, because let's say that we're in a big deficit. The weight loss, we'll say like your weight your weight versus time, right? That's the scale here. Hopefully it's not flipped around. The weight versus time, how much weight you're losing, it's going to go at a rapid rate and then start to slow, right? It's going to go at a real rapid rate of weight loss, and then it's going to slow. Rather than doing a slower deficit, you're going to see maybe this curve, right? So it's going to take longer time to get to the end result, but the weight loss over time is a little more steady, right? Well, now we have that understanding, bigger versus smaller deficits. Here's the psychological, that's like the theoretical, the perspective of understanding these huge deficits. But let's look at the psychological perspective of what I've seen in experience with clients, or not clients, but people who come to me and become a client actually, because they fight this. Let's say I even had a call today, an application, a guy was dieting like 2,800 calories, losing some weight, went to go see somebody. This person put them on 1,400 calories. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a huge, huge difference. Yes, he started dropping weight, but here's the psychological pattern of restriction, low calories, and what it does to us from a body physiological standpoint, especially reducing carbohydrates. And then what it triggers us to do psychologically, that is going to impair our results. So you start to see that directly in the short term, it's not, the too low in calories isn't going to affect our results, but shortly after that short-term period, from a psychological perspective in our decision making, it's going to probably affect our results, because this is where you've heard of the term yo-yo dieting comes into play, right? Because of these things that happen. So if you have a big deficit, what I see people, this is their scale weight versus the time. The reality of it is, instead of just that one swoop like I had before, the reality of it is this. We're going to lose a lot of weight, gain a lot of weight, lose a lot of weight, gain a lot of weight. Actually, it's not even that. It's just maybe a little bit under there. Gain back weight because of these cycles that they're doing of poor relationship with their food, because they're in such a drastic caloric deficit. What starts to happen, and mind you here, this probably is going to take the same amount of time or more time than if you were just to do it conservatively, like a smaller deficit approach, because of all of these highs. And these highs will contribute significantly to your emotional state, because those highs are signifying that you're going off your caloric deficit and binging or doing something you shouldn't, right? And what happens there is psychologically you start to feel ashamed of yourself. You get discouraged, right? And that contributes to the process. Some people just quit; they don't even keep going. As well as that, you're hurting your hormonal function and metabolic function, like in the long term, if you keep doing that over and over and over and over again. So, in the, like I said, the direct short term, having a big deficit going low in calories isn't going to affect you, especially if you have a lot of body fat to lose. You'll probably be fine, and you can lose at a lot faster rate because you have a lot of stored energy, right? Body fat, adipose tissue is the energy that's being, quote unquote, fat burning, like you're using fat for fuel off your body, losing that fat. The thing is when you go really low in calories, especially low in carbs, you're going to hinder your performance at a point. Why? Is because our muscles, our bodies, carbs essentially is the primary source of energy. So if you're depriving it of that, you are going to start depriving yourself, obviously, of energy for intensity in the gym, or honestly, your mood is going to start to go to crap. So maybe you've done like a low carb diet, right? The first week, you feel good, you still feel fine, and you lose a lot of weight because you're just kind of depleting muscle glycogen, which is glycogen or carbs that's stored in the muscle, right? And so you're using all that for energy though in the gym and lifting, and you see that scale go down. So it feels great, right? And then after week 1 or week 2, you see some progress, but you start to see progress start to slow a little bit. But now you start becoming hungry. You start to become a little bit tired. You kind of feel like crap. Maybe your sleep is a little off. And this is all those factors that are contributing from that low caloric or low carbohydrate intake. So that's where it comes into play, where if your results start slowing and you think and you have a perspective in your head that you need to keep progressing at 4 pounds a week of weight loss or whatever it is, because the first week you lost 4 pounds, that's not realistic. And what's going to cause is these highs right here, where you get discouraged, you feel like crap, your energy's low, all that stuff. So you're going to eat a lot of food. You're going to binge. Well, that binge is going to knock you out of that deficit. Obviously, it's going to actually put you in a pretty decent surplus. So you're going to accumulate the body fat you just lost, right? Maybe not all of it, maybe more of it. And then you're just going to keep repeating the cycle if you do these drastic extremes of low caloric diets when you are like big caloric deficits, especially when you just start dieting, right? So there's that approach. And I am sorry if I am slurring over my words and everything. It has been a busy day. I am obviously in contest prep. I am tired, didn't get a lot of sleep last night myself. So I apologize if I am a little scattered. But anyways, that is with a person that is just starting to diet, or maybe they're just like an average gym goer and they're just trying to lose some body fat or whatever it is for summertime. This is completely different though when it comes to competing if you're doing contest prep. The reason being is because relativity still plays a role, right? And the only way to keep losing body fat is going to be dictated by the caloric intake of being in that deficit, whether it's you're increasing your output or decreasing your input. Going too low in calories isn't really the perspective you should have. It's about what you set yourself up for in the very beginning of dieting, so you have enough runway, is what I call it, at the end of contest prep, so you can get to the level of conditioning that you need. So let's say that you start contest prep and you start dieting at 1,600 calories if you're like a male that's 200 pounds, right? And you start dieting at 16 or 1,800 calories. Well, over time, obviously, like we've talked about in previous videos, metabolic adaptation will take place, and your metabolism is going to start slowing. You're just becoming more efficient at burning calories to still do all the bodily functions that you need. So obviously, we're going to have to keep decreasing our calories or increasing our output of cardio usage or training volume usage or whatever it is to create that caloric deficit still. But if you're starting at 16 or 1,800 calories, and that's still not allowing for a lot of carbs in general, anyways, with that caloric intake for that size of a person. As you keep reducing calories and carbs over time, your training is going to go to crap. You're not going to feel good. And at the very end, you're probably going to be lean, but you're not going to be shredded. You're not going to be lean enough to be competitive on stage, because now, let's say at the very end, you got to 1,300 calories or 1,400 calories, and you're doing an hour of cardio or hour and a half of cardio just to get in that caloric deficit. Well, where are you going to go from there? The only options is to increase your cardio or decrease food. And the thing is with how your intensity is going right now, with how low your food already is, it's going to be very hard to keep that deficit going in order to lose that last bit of weight that you need in order to achieve that level of conditioning, right? It's possible, but it's not likely. So that's where the differences are with a general weight loss person versus a contest prep. And looking at these graphs in terms of what's going on physiologically, but also psychologically. And that's why I always preach and always teach my clients that, especially general weight loss, is that we can't have a relationship with food where there is some form of restriction that's causing resentment. And in doing so, especially at the gate, if you start cutting all of the fun foods that you have and decrease your calories significantly, you're setting yourself up for failure, because like I said, in the short term, you will lose weight for sure. But would you rather lose 5 to 10 pounds in 2 weeks and then gain it back in a month? Or would you rather lose 20 pounds in 3 months and keep it off, still be eating a lot of food, and you know how to do it so you can keep losing as much weight as you want? Which one do you want, right? Second option, probably a lot of people would go for that one. So anyways, that is the question for today. I can't see anything with the comment box. So if you are asking questions, I apologize. I cannot see it. And I'm looking of how to see it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have going for today for you guys. This is a great question. I love all these questions. So to answer it in a short, simple way, it's not going to affect results in the short term, but probably the long term. So I would suggest not doing too low in calories relative to your maintenance. If you're already super lean, then you just have to make that call yourself if you want to keep pushing or not, if it's worth it, right? So, anyways, guys, other than that, I'm going to hop off here. We got a lot to do today. We got new website development going on, a lot of new cool features with AP when it comes to not only private coaching now and contest prep coaching, but we should have apparel launching soon, as well as we have 2 different other sectors. We have some team members coming on board, but 2 other sectors that are going to be including corporate wellness, as well as doing education courses and seminars. I'm super excited about that, honestly, where we can really help more people on a bigger scale. And I think it'll trickle down where people can really benefit not only from health perspective, but also from a financial perspective. And also businesses can get a lot better quality employees and better work atmosphere, culture. Just everybody wins, essentially. So anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and we'll chat at you tomorrow.